okay. Um, Australia is pretty much recovering from COVID. It's not like a pandemic anymore for us anymore. Um, Otherwise, no, I've just been doing my own thing, catching up on some well-needed exercise and surfing and outdoor activities, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Haven't really done much on YouTube.
Well, speaking of COVID, do you mind if I use you as a way to ruffle more feathers?
Do it
Okay.
and cue the Titanic
I
music.
regret, I regret getting the vaccine because I think,
Oh, okay, interesting.
yeah.
Okay.
So, before the vaccine came out, I was in support of it, blah, blah, blah. But this is like one of these personal experience things where it's really powerful. Um, I'll start with three members of my family, personal family. Now, you can't prove this, and I'll admit this, but there's pretty strong correlation to the timing and all this. My nephew had major heart problems after his second, or is it third dose. So much so that he had a heart monitor on 24/7. So anyhow, that's that. My sister almost like went crazy with fear. My other sister, to this day has constant allergic breakouts of hives and stuff to the point where it blisters and bleeds, and it's unbelievable, painful and irritation and just terrible. And then for me personally, a month or two after I got my second dose, this happened last year. I started. I had number one a horrible experience with it. Hallucinated, like not just felt bad. I hallucinated like I was on Percocet, and I've been on Percocet before, and I know what hallucinations are like. I hallucinated on it, and then over the next, and even to this day, have had extreme problems with my extremities, like tingling sensations. And then a couple months after that, in fact, it was right after a live stream, I thought I was going to have a stroke.
Oh,
Yes,
okay.
and
Wow.
to this day, I'm still not quite right. Like, I'm
What vaccine did you get?
I'm constantly head Pfizer. I'm constantly
Okay.
headachy. I'm constantly unbalanced in my like when I walk. It's like I have to focus to walk. I've been to three or four different specialists. Nobody can figure out what's wrong. I look healthy on paper, and nobody knows what's going on. Now, can I prove this has anything to do with the vaccine? No. But my suspicions it is. If I could, knowing that in hindsight, if I could rewind the clock, I would never have gotten it. And I think people should be able to say what I just said without fear of whatever, and and state any what they think is a negative experience with it.
Because I consulted with, I have a few of my friends who are in the biological department and to do with viruses and vaccines, and I that's not my field, and I needed clarification. This is back early 2020. I even consulted online YouTubers like Joel Duff, who works for Biologos. He's a professor. He teaches at the biological level, biochem and all that. He's a Christian. He was one of those Christians that advocated like pro-vaccine, like we need to get it. I've had 3 doses, and I got COVID, which I suppose you could say is like my fourth dose,
Yeah, it was.
earlier in May. Yeah,
So,
so
what's
I
your
got my
opinion
third
now?
dose, and
Like given that what we
mhm.
know now, like that once you get COVID, it's probably better than the vaccine as far as immunity. Given what you know now, would you still have gotten the vaccines?
Well, I read a paper a month ago that was published a month ago saying that I think 20 million lives was saved theoretically through like heuristics and mathematical modeling. Like 20 million lives were saved because of the vaccine.
No, but I'm talking about
Um,
you. would you have gotten the vaccine? Like, do you think you actually
I
saved any
probably, I
lives?
probably, I like circumstantially looking at those stats and plus my own, experience. I reckon yeah, I would have gone for it.
Yeah.
Um,
I think it's,
because when I got COVID, I was kind of shocked as to I've never had a virus like that before, and I knew
but given
whatever
what we know
antibodies
that
I developed.
like
Yeah,
getting the vaccine doesn't stop you from getting COVID, right? And it doesn't stop you from transmitting COVID, right?
but it was never promised to be like 100% shield against COVID. Like
I know,
it's
but
just
what I just
yeah,
said was true,
yeah.
right?
Wait, say that again? Like what?
Getting the vaccine doesn't prevent you from getting COVID and doesn't
Hmm.
stop you from spreading COVID, correct?
No.
So
Yeah. Yes, you're correct. You're correct. You're
how
correct. Yeah.
does you getting a vaccine save lives? Because you can still get
It
COVID and
saves your
spread it,
life. Yeah, it saves your life.
right? If
It's
you
not
take it,
talking about yeah,
yeah, yeah, and I agree with that.
yeah.
Yeah,
And I think as far as spreading goes, as far as I've read, I could be wrong, but as far as I've read, the spreading is not equivalent. It's not a one-to-one correlation to someone who's not vaccinated and has it and how that person spreads it. Because the person who's been vaccinated doesn't COVID doesn't last as long in the
yeah.
system. And
But like the
yeah,
purpose of getting the vaccine is so you don't die, right?
basically,
Yeah,
yeah.
and
And with the whole long, what's it called, like long
yeah,
COVID
and
and
so
all
the
those.
and also
Now they're saying there's neurological effects you can get
yeah,
because of COVID. And
and
yeah.
and maybe also the vaccine. um,
Really?
and but the point is, like, if I was to do it all over again, I would have just highly recommended people of high risk to get vaccinated and above a certain age. Like, I think I'm right on the line, but I think
But maybe my question to you, Doug, is, which by the way, this is not this is being putting all the cards on the table. It sounds then, if you followed your thought process fully through into like a conspiracy sort of mode, would you then one day say that there is something legit to the whole plan, what they call the plandemic? It's which obviously it's part of the far right conspiracy stuff. Like, are you going in that direction, or are you sort of on the
I have
fence?
no
Or
idea what you're talking about. I'm just saying that if the vaccine's purpose is to reduce death, you should use it primarily for the people at most risk of death. If there's negative, like it's a cost benefit analysis, right? The vaccine
Hmm.
does have costs. Everybody agrees with this. It has costs. Now it also has benefits. Everybody agrees with that too. But the question is, for different people in different age categories and demographics, that cost benefit analysis changes. If you're really old and you have high risk factors, the benefit of the vaccine is huge compared to the risk.
Exactly. Yeah.
But if you're
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
a 10-year-old boy or a 12-year-old boy, like my nephew,
Hmm.
no. In fact, I would dare say it's stupid to get the
But
vaccine.
what I'm saying is, what you're saying there, and I see what you're saying, but what you're saying is vital ammunition for those agenda-driven right-wing conspiracy folk, you know, that say everything's run by the Illuminati and the vaccine is a
I don't care about them. I
is
mean,
a population
I'm just
control. Like,
talking about that this cost benefit analysis.
yeah, but surely surely, I guess the question you're raising is, why is it was considered to be safe per se, and it passed regulations, and yet it's giving you all these symptoms. But yet I've never had any symptoms.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's and I'm it's I I'm sorry to hear that you know there are people
And
with
my
heart
guess is most
issues
people
and
don't have symptoms or that negative of symptoms, but some do. And so then it comes down to this type of cost benefit analysis. And I think I was at an age where it's close, but given the fact that
did did you get COVID?
yeah, I never been tested, but I truly believe that I had COVID before the vaccines came out. And knowing what I know now, uh, yeah, I think to get the vaccine is, given the risks, I didn't need it. I had COVID. I
Mm.
was already immune. Like you admitted yourself, you getting COVID before the vaccines came out. That was your first shot. That was your first.
No, no, I got COVID after I had 3 vaccines,
Oh,
and
you
then
got
I got
COVID
COVID.
after the first one or second one?
No, after the 3rd one.
Oh, the third one. Okay.